It's round 2 of Duke and Carolina. This time it's at Cameron, and things might get ugly.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Friday, March 6, 2026. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels and Locked On Blue Devils crossover with JJ Jackson and Isaac Schade. We love getting together for these because it's always crazy. The rivalry always delivers, as it did in the first matchup, coming down to a near buzzer-beating win for the Tar Heels. You're joining us at the place to get your Blue Devils and Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Network. Now the #1 sports podcast network out there. Thanks for making us your first listener watch of the day. Special shout out to all the everydayers that are here hanging out with JJ and I. This episode's brought to you by FanDuel, who is giving you a way to turn that energy into an even bigger potential win with college basketball parlay profit boost. Head on over to FanDuel.com today to get started. Coming up on the show, JJ and I are going to get you ready for the second matchup, hopefully of 3. We love it when these teams square off again. But this is round 2 inside Cameron Indoor Stadium to wrap up the regular season for both teams. Where we're going to head on the show, we'll start. I'll talk to JJ about the Duke side of things. Then we'll flip to the Carolina side of things in segment 2 and wrap it all up with some predictions, some other storylines, and maybe a little postseason banter as well. JJ, I mean, good night. Ever since the first matchup between these two teams, the Blue Devils have been absolutely rolling, including beating Michigan in the nation's capital. Crazy stuff there. I mean, it's just beat down after beat down after beat down. What has there something that's just flipped for Duke? I mean, they were already rolling coming into the first round, but I mean, it feels like it's hit a new level since then. Is there something specific that's clicked?
Yeah, for whatever reason, it's a team that's responding to losses really well. I mean, they went on a pretty good run after losing to Texas Tech, and then now the second loss was the first meeting between these two teams. And ever since, Duke really just once again went back to the drawing board, made sure that everything was clean and crisp defensively. That's where they've kind of made their MO throughout ACC play. That was kind of the one thing that needed to be corrected after that Texas Tech game, because to start league play, Duke was giving up a lot of points defensively, and then Dame Sarr really started to take things over as kind of Duke's lead defender up top. I think Cam Boozer has really turned a corner as a defender himself. Ngongba has been in it actively as well there on the interior. And so I think that's kind of been the big MO and makeup for this team. And quite frankly, Duke decided, we're tired of this feeling. We want to continue to make sure if we play our best defense, no one's going to be able to stop us for 40 consecutive minutes. We'll be able to find out what to do offensively to get buckets, and Duke's done exactly that.
As we record, the Blue Devils are, in fact, #1 at Ken Palm in defensive efficiency. And I tell you what, JJ, just a woeful only 4th in offensive efficiency. So maybe pick it up a little bit for the Blue. No, it's great. You just mentioned Dame Sarr, what he's doing right now defensively. But, JJ, the other night against NC State, which thank you for beating them. That really helped Carolina, by the way, in the ACC standing. So thank you for just obliterating them. It was weird. Quadir Copeland stopped talking as that game went on.
Yeah, he did.
Usually he's always running his mouth. Anyway, Dame was a dude, particularly in the first half of that game. For those who haven't been watching Duke much other than the Carolina matchup, has that been a consistent thing for Dame, or was that just kind of a one-off over in Raleigh the other night?
Yeah, I think certainly the scoring volume was a one-off in some respects to what we've seen lately from him. But the numbers all across the board in terms of capitalizing have been. Over his last 6 games, Dame Sarr is shooting 43% from three-point range, which is 10 points higher than his season average. Right now, Sarr makes the math easy for everybody. He has attempted 100 three-point shots total on the year. He has made 33 of them. Therefore, that it's simple math, a 33% shooter. But like I said, over the last 6 games, 21 attempts, 9 for 21, so 43% there. He's rebounding much more aggressively as of late, had 8 strong rebounds in that NC State game, and then the defense has been there all the way throughout. In the first meeting between these two games, Isaac, two teams, you'll remember Sarr was making some big shots in that first half in particular. Yeah. The problem is that his foot, he just couldn't Get the puppies organized, as Bill Raftery likes to say, and get them in order. So just long twos instead of those 3-point jumpers as well. But yeah, that corner shot has kind of been his bread and butter. And then we're also seeing some stronger finishes around the rim out in transition from him too. So definitely improved on the offensive end of the floor.
Speaking of hot shooting from three, I remember in that first matchup, Isaiah Evans came into it in a little bit of a slump, but it feels like from the outside looking in a little bit, he is not what I would call in a slump any longer.
Not at all. He's living up to his Instagram handle of Showtime Slim. He is a Showtime player, and his shot has been awesome as of late. Duke this season, I hate to give out these numbers, Shady, because it jinxed me the first time around where Duke had never lost a basketball game where he scores in double figures. Now it's happened once in that Tar Heels game earlier this season. The new number is that Duke's never lost when he's made at least three-point jumpers.
There we go.
So
there we go.
Hopefully I can work a little reverse jinx and not jinx it this time. I don't know. But when he's making down large volumes of 3-point shots, this offense has just been clicking at a whole nother level. And certainly it's been a good formula for success when he gets going for Duke.
JJ, one of the unique wrinkles is that Duke has built up enough of a lead in the ACC in particular because of knocking the doors off of Virginia the other day to create an even bigger chasm between number 1 and 2 in the league standings. That Duke comes in having already clinched the first seed in the ACC tournament, of course. Virginia also having clinched the second seed. As we record, Miami and SMU are playing. If Miami wins that, they will be the 3 seed. Obviously, by the time you all hear this on Friday or see this on Friday, you already know the results of that. Carolina, by virtue of Miami also winning, would be locked into the 4 seed. So both teams would kind of already know where they're at from an ACC tournament standpoint. How do you expect, because obviously Blue Devils still playing for that 1 overall seed. Is that the motivation here on top of obviously the motivation of the rivalry that's always there?
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing, is that the rivalry doesn't need any more added motivation in this, right? And the fact that you lost it already, that's motivating enough. But no, you're right on there. I think that Duke wants to be a 1 seed. They want to be the number 1 overall seed if they can in the NCAA tournament. But it is kind of an easier feeling because going into last year's game like this, if you recall, Duke won with a 19-1 record overall in ACC play, but there were 2 different teams that were 18-2 in league play a season ago. So Duke really needed, if they wanted to be outright champions, they needed to win it. And so they were able to do that this time around and won't have that pressure of being outright champs in a game like this. But again, the rivalry itself speaks for itself. One thing that I thought was fun, we've been talking Dame Sarr in that NC State game. Duke put out a YouTube short, Instagram reel. It's all over. It's on all their social platforms after the game that I think Tar Heel fans might find a little fun. But famously, Dame Sarr speaks 6 different languages, Isaac. And so once the game was over, he was tasked in the locker room whiteboard in Raleigh with writing ACC champions on the whiteboard, and the team's giving him a hard time about all the languages that he speaks if he can spell this phrase correctly. He nails it. It got the job done. But yeah, that's one of the things you wouldn't think about for one of the stars in this college basketball game. It's so fun watching him play the sport that we all love. But spelling takes a little bit when you spent your whole life growing up in Italy and across the pond.
JJ, last question for me as we're thinking about the Duke side of it. Who, obviously that Cam is the name, right? And Isaiah Evans and all of that stuff. Who right now is performing as like the X factor for the Blue Devils? Who's really is it Hymenia? Who's doing that right now?
I think you got to go to the big fella on the inside. I think Ngongba has certainly turned a corner with what he's been able to do. I think for Big Pat, he's been so versatile, scoring, rebounding, defending. Foul trouble has been the biggest issue, and I know that was the case as well in the game first time around between Duke and UNC. But for this team in particular, Ngongba has really turned a corner and has been doing impressive things for Duke as well.
All right, well, we'll see how Henri Veesaar can handle that on the inside in the interior, and that's where we're going to head next. We're going to flip the script. JJ is going to talk to me about the Tar Heels. I would imagine we might visit the idea of a certain power forward making it back for this game or not. We'll do all of that and more coming up here in just a second. right after I tell you about our friends at FanDuel. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, man, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into an even bigger potential win with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. Rivalry games just like ours, ranked matchups, whatever fits your read on how the games are going. Man, you can mix the spreads, you can get totals, player props, any of it based on how you see it playing out. And then you just simply apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Obviously, we don't yet have the line for this game, but I would imagine JJ Duke 8.5, 9.5, somewhere in that range. Probably. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely going to get the boost being at home and Cameron Indoor, and then kind of the results that they've had as of late. I think that's probably a fair way to put it. 7 to 10 is kind of where I'm expecting it to be.
Yep. So we'll see. Does the rivalry deliver? Can Carolina stay within whatever that probably pretty big number is, or will Duke just kind of run away with it? We will find out. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with even more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. This episode's also brought to you by our good friends at TurboTax. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, JJ, the old way of doing taxes is a lot stressful, overwhelming. Yeah. I finally just am getting to mine, and it's so good to get it off my chest. Trying to book an appointment, that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room, you got stacks of papers hoping you got all your documents. Emailing back and forth, wondering, do you even understand my situation? Do you understand what I'm asking you? No. This year, though, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing that it's all done and been handled correctly. What a relief. Head to TurboTax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. TurboTax.com. Check it out.
Okay, we've got a Locked On College crossover. It's Locked On Blue Devils and Locked On Tar Heels. JJ Jackson from the Duke side of things. That's Isaac Schade from the North Carolina perspective. And Shady, you teased it going to break, so I could follow suit and discuss the big storyline in a game like this is star freshman Caleb Wilson. He made his impact in the first game between these two schools. And then in the immediate game following against Miami, there was an injury sustained, and we haven't seen Mr. Wilson since. Catch me up to speed, the injury, what happened, the treatment, where we're at, and then biggest question of them all, is he going to play?
So the injury that actually happened, he was contesting a three. Unfortunately, it turned into a 4-point play. So insult to injury in that moment, JJ. But as he, and I forget what Miami shooter it was, came down, just landed on his non-shooting hand, his left hand weird, fractured bone in his hand. Carolina's pretty vague with their injury, so we never found out specifically what bone in his hand, because that can make a difference, right? Sure. Middle of the hand, one of your phalanges, I don't know, bones and stuff. Metatarsals, or is that carpals? I don't know where we're at. I do play a doctor on TV. No, I'm just kidding. And so Caleb has been in a brace for a long time, never had like a full-on like cast like you would have had growing up. Is now out of that brace. He had downgraded to a different one and is now out of it, has been taking shots, but has been not going through contact. He himself has been talking, like all the conversation has been, Caleb's going to be back for the Duke game. Well, that's like self-endorsed, right? Like there's never been anything from Hubert Davis or anyone else on the staff to say, yes, for sure, he will be back from the Duke game. So JJ, as we sit here, we're in just as much suspense as anybody else, not knowing if he will be back for this game or not. And that's the thing. Carolina has played 6 games after that Miami game. The Tar Heels are 5-1 in that stretch, with the lone loss being at NC State, who quite frankly cooked the Tar Heels because they were also without Henri Veesaar, by the way, in that game. Ooh, gross. I don't even want any part of that anymore. Thankfully for the Tar Heels anyway, Veesaar is now back. Jarin Stevenson has been filling the 4 position for Carolina. He was already in the starting lineup, as you'll recall, so he slid over from the 3 to the 4, and Luka Bogavac has been the newcomer to the starting lineup at the 3.
Yeah, it's been fun to kind of see them regroup and still be able to put, I don't know that fun's necessarily the word Duke fans would use here, but impressive, I should say.
The college basketball fan in us can
for
appreciate
sure.
it.
Absolutely. That, hey, here's your amazing player. Everyone wants to watch this North Carolina team because of Caleb Wilson. And in a heated conference race throughout, you're still able to pick up all these wins and whatnot moving forward. I would imagine the conversation that you're having daily, Isaac, and amongst North Carolina people out there is what is the appropriate protocol? Do you rush this guy back? You've got these big postseason goals in mind. How does all of that? I mean, am I safe to say that's the biggest question of it all is you don't want it to come back too soon with risk of making this a whole lot worse?
Absolutely, JJ. That's been all the in fact, my Tar Heel show yesterday on Thursday was about how it goes when you do bring Caleb back, whenever that is, because there's a level at which they've figured themselves out now and are succeeding at a high level. Carolina has had 5 different people either lead them in scoring or tied to lead them in scoring in the 6 games that Wilson has been out. So you've got that variety now, which has been really helpful. You've seen otherwise basically non-thought of players like a Jaydon High, who has been like unlike anything we've ever seen from him in his Carolina career. It's been really neat to see him step up. In terms of the timeline, yeah, it's this weird thing because on one hand, JJ, I'd love to get him back in this game, which in a weird way, if both teams are already locked into their ACC tournament spot, which again, we haven't finished the Miami SMU game yet, so we don't know that. But say Carolina's locked into the 4 and Duke into the 1, at some level, this game, aside from, the rivalry, sure, but aside from that, it's kind of gravy for both teams, right? For Duke continuing to look to expand on their resume, for Carolina looking to get another resume massive boost, right, by beating the number 1 team in the nation. And so at some level, it's like, it's kind of easier to slide Caleb back in here and try to figure out that cohesion again, because it is a disruption when you reintroduce a player into your lineup. I don't care how good he is, right? And so I would rather introduce him into a regular season game which doesn't have postseason stakes to it, aside from maybe a little seeding, rather than reintroducing him in a one and done scenario in either of the 2 upcoming tournaments. Obviously, you don't want to rush it though. I would rather get beaten by Duke by 30 than risk injury if he's not totally ready to go. But at the same time, every opportunity you have to get him on the floor is an opportunity to find that cohesion that you already had before he was gone. So that to me, JJ, is the balance of it all.
Yeah, the 2 things here. I think Caleb Wilson, the person and player and personality that he has, being a competitor, you only get this once. That's right. To play in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Everybody believes this guy's going to be bound for the NBA once the season comes to a close, right? And the rivalry game means so much. It is cool to be able to say, I did play in the Duke and North Carolina game inside Cameron, an opportunity to win both regular season matchups and that sort of thing. The other piece that I think Duke, often thinks back to Kyrie Irving in 2011 when he only played those 11 games, 8 in the regular season before returning for postseason play there. Recovery, right? If you're in an ACC tournament setting, you do not know how a player will recover from an injury until a game is played. And in these tournament scenarios, particularly in the ACC side of things, now you're speeding it up into this very next day turnaround, Shady, where you got to be able to hit the floor and play again.
Yeah, it's a tough scenario. And like, for example, if he does play, it's 4 more days from after Carolina played Clemson on Tuesday night. If he waits till the first game of the ACC tournament, assuming Carolina has the double bye and is starting on Thursday, that's 8 days of rest instead of 4. But then there's that turnaround, and you got, like, I don't care how much you ride a bike, I don't care how much you run, there's just no conditioning like the conditioning of actually playing in a game, right? And so that's absolutely part of the factor here.
Last one I've got before we head to our final timeout here on this crossover. Where are we at with Hubert Davis, Isaac? Because I go back to matchup number 2 of these 2 teams a season ago, and then we didn't know a third one was coming in the ACC tournament, but it was a Tar Heels team.
Jalen Withers.
Yeah, who's really – thanks for that free throw lane violation.
Very quickly. Sorry. Seth Trimble had a free throw violation at the end of the Clemson game on Tuesday night, and I was like, if the ghost of Jalen Withers costs Carolina this game, I'm going to lose my mind right now. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, wait for the ball in these free throw line scenarios. What I was going to say, though, is that, last season, you're very much so awaiting Selection Sunday. What is, are we getting in the tournament? Is this, following in Roy Williams' footsteps is a no small task whatsoever. Here you are, your star player goes down. 5-1 since, as you pointed out. There have been recruiting wins as of late, momentum and steam. So give Duke fans a sense, the Roy Williams pulse of it all within the Tar Heel basketball world.
Dude, yes, it is so nice this year to be worried about seeding rather than inclusion, just from a postseason standpoint, JJ, like that. What a whirlwind that was last year.
No doubt.
The Carolina fan base feels so wildly divided to me. Some of them are very consistent in giving Hubert Davis his flowers for continuing to find ways to get it done in the inconsistency of the portal era. Duke fans may or may not know the stat that Hubert Davis is now the first and only coach in Carolina history to get 20 or more wins in each of his first 5 seasons. But 20 is not the same as it was in 92 because now we play 31 regular season games, right? So there's that side of it. And then there's another side of the fan base that's like, you got to look at things because you're Carolina and you're Duke and Kansas and Kentucky. If you don't have one of the top 5 coaches in the nation and you're Carolina, then you're doing it wrong. And JJ, I hear both sides of that in a big way. And as a reminder, similar to John Shire, Hubert Davis had never coached at the varsity level. He had been Carolina's JV coach before stepping into this thing. He's more than safe for this season. I know he came into the year with probably some hot seat conversations around the country. Not probably, he did. There are not those right now because Carolina's had enough success this season, but that's part of it. Like there's this weird thing of like just enough success versus elite level Duke and Carolina being top 5 teams in the nation year in and year out that we're used to throughout the 90s and early 2000s. And so I think for now they carry on with Hubert Davis and we'll continue to watch. Can there be consistency? Because so far there's not been from year to year. 2 years ago, they win the ACC regular season and are 1 seed. Last year, you just mentioned skin of their teeth into the NCAA tournament. This year, very comfortably in as a 4, 5, 6, somewhere in that range. What's going to happen next year? That's what I need to see, JJ, is consistency. I personally am all in on Hubert Davis. He's a great man, loves these kids, loves his team, but that's not enough. There's got to be the wins that follow, so we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I can imagine a win over Duke would go a really long way in the loyalty to one Mr. Hubert Davis. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, we've got other storylines, other things that can make round 2 of college basketball's finest rivalry even better. We'll tell you about that in a moment. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need this right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching, more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing those candidates who check it all. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you've heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Our show today also brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5 Hour Energy flavor draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including brand new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, Cotton Candy. There is something for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready. And I tell you what, I've got my number 1 pick ready to go for the 5 Hour Energy flavor draft. I'm a simple man, and nothing says simple like their big, bold berry flavor every time. That's what I'm looking for. Slightly sweet and very fruity, classic mixed berry flavor with notes of raspberry and blackberry. Familiar, easy to recognize flavor profile. That's the direction I always go. 5-hour energy shots give you a boost with zero sugar. It's got a lot of upcoming flavor innovations planned with 5-hour energy. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-hour energy shots available online right now at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. 5-Hour Energy is a proud sponsor of Locked On Podcast Network. Okay, final countdown, brother. Duke and North Carolina Locked On College crossover here with both Locked On Blue Devils and Locked On Tar Heels. College Game Day is going to be there once again, as it always is, all day long.
What? No way.
Yeah, wow. Shocker. We will see if someone like Jay Williams wants to, speaking to a Duke crowd here, I don't know that there's much pandering you could do to the other shade of blue. That's always a head scratcher on rivalry day like this, man. But just another example, another reminder that when the day does finally get started, Isaac, there's nothing like this, man. It truly is the best of the best. And I hate that Seth Trimble's shot went down the way it is, but another good, highlight that's going to be added into the ever-long highlight of the great games we've been treated to in this series.
It's interesting, JJ. I don't know if Duke folks have talked about it. It wasn't a true and honest buzzer beater in the same way the shot I'm about to mention, but I think a lot of Carolina folks have started talking about that as Carolina's Austin Rivers shot, basically, right? Kind of steal it, because those who may or may not remember that one, Carolina had that game won before Austin Rivers just got it out of the overstretched arms of Tyler Zeller, who will be on my show next week, oh, by the way, and I just think about it every time he's on. But same thing. It feels like Carolina, if we're being honest, JJ, kind of stole that first game in the meeting here. And so I would imagine Duke ain't playing this time, but Carolina now knows a little bit more about what they got to do. The question is because I don't expect Caleb Wilson. If you're making me make a call, I don't think he plays in this game. Now, of course, watch that be dead wrong tomorrow when everybody suits up. But it's going to be crazy. And what's going to be interesting to me, JJ, I don't know if you've realized this pattern. It occurred to me the other day. Duke swept the series in 1920. Carolina swept it in 2021. 21-22 was kind of the outlier because Duke won the first one. Carolina got the last two, one of them on a bigger stage. And then Duke swept in 23. Carolina swept in 24. Duke swept 3 of them last year. Good grief. And Carolina got the first one this year, and it's Carolina's turn to sweep. So I'm just going to hope that the omen of sweeping for the last, dating back to essentially 2020 is going to come again, and the Tar Heels can maybe sneak in and steal one. But man, it's going to be a tall task.
Yeah, one would think the splits would be more common, right? When you've got just this massive rivalry the way it is, but it's like full years where one side is experiencing dominance over the other. So,
and the flip-flop of it is crazy.
Yeah, I should have expected that Coach K's final game would have been referenced here in a Final Four and whatnot. And now
it would be podcasting malfeasance of me to not bring it up, JJ.
Yeah. Totally fair. All right, well, let's get to it. Let's look at this game. Tell me how you see it playing out then, Isaac. We've seen Barack Obama show up to a Cameron Indoor Duke and UNC game. So I don't know that there's too bold of a thought or prediction that you could send out to me with everybody that's shown up here before.
Oh man. The problem for Carolina, if Caleb Wilson's not in this game, I just think too much Duke size. Yes, Carolina still has some great size because Jarin Stevenson 6'10 at the 4, Jaydon high 6'10 coming in off the bench at the 5. And so Carolina is still able to bring some height, but I just feel like with the way Duke is rolling right now and with the way that Carolina has been winning, but close. Just sneaking by. And so what I think it's going to take is a resounding effort from beyond the arc for Carolina. They hit 44% of their threes against Clemson the other night, a Clemson team bound and determined to not let Carolina get into the paint and score. Carolina was 12 of 27, including 6 from Luka Bogavac for a Carolina career high 20 points. I feel like it's going to take that kind of performance of Carolina because Carolina shoots 34% from beyond the arc on the season. It's going to take kind of a season anti-average kind of performance in some regard. And I think it's going to have to be from beyond the arc, because it's not like Carolina is going to be able to come in and take care of business. You remember all the foul trouble that Duke got in the first game. Well, that was all because of Caleb Wilson. And if he's not out there able to do it, I just feel like the front court advantage probably goes to Duke there in a big way. So I like last time I was reverse jinxing, you might remember. And so I actually picked Duke to win. That reverse jinx went away with that Miami loss. So I've been back on like actual calls, and I never want to pick Duke, but like I told you, like it just feels like everything is trending in the Duke direction. And so I'm going to have to go with the Blue Devils to win this one by 10. Let me go 83-73.
I like it. Obviously, if Duke wins, I'll be a very happy man. We have gone the length of this conversation until just a moment ago when you referenced referees for the first time. So good job by you and I, although, again, questionable that there are no free throw attempts taken in this rivalry game. We'll see by Duke in the second half. We'll see how that plays out this time around. I think the front court for Duke is going to obviously be a big X factor here. Veesaar and Wilson held their own the first time around there in the second half. But on the first half, there was clear dominance in the points in the paint department for what Duke was able to do. And the Boozer twins have just proven to be winners time and time again. And Cam Boozer specifically, I have such a hard time thinking that his Duke story that's being written doesn't feature a win over North Carolina on his home floor in Cameron Indoor. Duke and UNC, the only two power conference teams to be undefeated at home.
Isn't that crazy,
season.
Dude?
I love it.
So crazy.
I love it. And so
it should be.
Yeah, and North Carolina's got an opportunity to play spoiler here. I don't think it happens. I think that Duke wins this game rather comfortably. I like this game playing out. I'll throw the 85 number out there. Let me say 85-67 is the direction I'm going for with Duke as they take on North Carolina. So beyond that, we're fired up for this game. And like you said, we very well could be having similar conversations in a matter of days at this point.
I hope so, right?
With, Charlotte right around the corner in the ACC tournament. So please subscribe to us, guys. Consider joining the Everydayer Club for both of our shows and so much more. Also, be sure to check us out on social media, YouTube, and wherever it is that you get your podcasts. He's Isaac Schade from Locked On Tar Heels. I'm JJ Jackson from Locked On Blue Devils. We send you off as we always do. Peace.